They say our school only had 3 hallways. They lied. My name is Ben. I'm 29 now, but when I was in 11th grade, something happened that still keeps me up at night. I went to a high school just outside of Denver, Colorado. It wasn't anything special. Red brick building, outdated lockers, bad cafeteria food, and a janitor who always smelled like cigarettes. The school was shaped like an E. 3 main hallways, each running parallel with classrooms and lockers, and a long vertical hallway connecting them. But there was always something strange between Hall B and C. There was a blank stretch of wall that didn't match the others. The paint was newer, smoother. A few of us joked that it used to be a classroom for kids who disappeared. You know, stupid teenage rumors. But then, Zoe Thomas vanished. Zoe wasn't the kind of girl people forgot. She had purple streaks in her hair, wore boots with chains, and once slapped a teacher for calling her difficult. But she was also smart, sharp, unapologetic. One Thursday, she didn't show up to English Lit. By 3rd period, her name was buzzing around. Teachers were acting weird. No announcement, no explanation. She just didn't come back. That night, I got a text from her number. I found the hallway. It's real. I stared at the screen for minutes. I texted back. What are you talking about? No reply. Zoe, where are you? Nothing. The next day, the school counselor said Zoe transferred due to personal circumstances. Bullshit. A week later, I was called to the principal's office for disruptive behavior. I hadn't done anything wrong, but someone had reported me for asking about Zoe too much. While I waited outside, I noticed something strange on the wall across from the secretary's desk. An old school evacuation map. Laminated. Faded. I stood up and looked closely. The school was shaped like an E, just like I remembered. But there was a 4th hallway, right between Hall B and C, labeled Hall D Classrooms D1, D8. It didn't exist, at least not anymore. When the secretary came back, I pretended like I didn't see it. But the image burned into my mind. I had to find it. The next Saturday, I snuck into the school. I'd convinced my friend Carlos, who had keys from his older brother who once worked as night staff. We slid in through the side entrance, our flashlights barely cutting the dark. We walked to the blank wall between Hall B and C. Nothing. No door, no signs. Until Carlos noticed something weird in the corner, a seam in the wall. A faint line that didn't match the paint. He tapped it, hollow. We pushed. Click, a door swung open, releasing a wave of cold, dusty air, the kind of cold that felt wrong. We stepped inside. It looked like it hadn't been touched in decades. Old wooden doors lined the narrow hallway, rusted classroom plaques, D1, D2, D3, and so on. The fluorescent lights above us buzzed, even though the school's power was supposed to be off. Carlos whispered. His place wasn't just closed, it was erased. We opened the first classroom door. Inside, rows of desks, untouched, a chalkboard with lessons still written on it. Pop quiz today, American Civil War. On the teacher's desk, a stack of tests dated October 12th, 1993. But no dust, no cobwebs. It felt alive. We went deeper. Then we heard it. Click, click, click. Footsteps, but not ours. Carlos grabbed my arm. Run. We tried to leave, but the hallway was longer now, much longer. The entrance behind us, gone. The hallway seemed to stretch forever, like it was breathing. We ducked into D6, locked the door. We heard whispering, not in English. A soft chorus of voices repeating something under their breath. Carlos backed up and bumped into a chair. It screamed. A human scream, but coming from the chair itself. The air went ice cold. We saw names scratched into the chalkboard. Zoe Thomas, Maya Bryant, Julian Coates, names of missing students, years apart. The last name? Ben Morgan. My name. I hadn't written it. We tried breaking a window, nothing. It felt like hitting stone. Carlos pulled open a classroom closet. Inside, desks stacked like coffins, and a girl sitting in the dark. Zoe, alive, sort of. Her eyes were glassy. She stared ahead, not blinking, lips moving. Carlos shook her. Zoe, snap out of it. She looked up slowly. If you answer, they let you go. What? Answer what? She pointed to the board. The chalk started moving by itself. Name the year the hallway was closed. Name the student who never left. Name your replacement. Carlos ran. I couldn't. I turned to Zoe. What's the answer? She just smiled. It's too late. Carlos screamed from the hallway. I ran after him. He was slamming his fists on the wall, blood on his knuckles. Behind us, the classrooms opened, slowly, one by one. From each, a figure stepped out. Not teachers, not students. Shadows in old uniforms, skin stretched. No eyes, only mouths, open in silent screams. Carlos turned. They're picking. I realized what Zoe meant. One stays, one replaces. They always need a soul. No one ever asked about Carlos. They said he moved away with family. Zoe's name never existed, apparently. I checked yearbooks. Entire classes had been erased. Students no one remembered. The school's layout changed. Hall D was gone. But I still dream about it. Sometimes I hear the whispers when I walk near that old wall. Sometimes I see new names scratched into desks in classrooms that shouldn't exist. Sometimes I still hear Carlos scream. A week ago, I got a package. No return address. Inside, a school map. On it, a new hallway where the east wall should be, labeled Hall E with one room. E1. Ben Morgan. They say some schools just close classrooms and build over them, but sometimes the rooms don't close. They wait. They remember you. And they always want one more name. Subscribe for more like this.